There's a new report out about the federal prison system in America that sheds some light on a stunning fact. They say, quote, "The latest Department of Justice analysis revealed that immigration offenses made up half of all federal arrests in 2012. Out of a total of 172,248 suspects arrested for a federal offense, 85,458, or 49.6%, were booked and arrested for immigration offenses including illegal entry, illegal re-entry, alien smuggling, and visa fraud." That is an absolutely stunning number. 50% of federal arrests are regarding immigration. Now, stop and think about this. What number is it when you add in the federal arrests for drug crimes? I mean, we have the overwhelming majority of the arrests at the federal level. They're because of things that there should be no arrest for. For nonviolent immigration crimes and nonviolent drug crimes, well over 50% of the arrests at the federal level are because of that. So, I mean, you want to have a conversation about shrinking government. Conservatives, holla at me. Let's have that conversation, man. We could cut the federal prison system by over 50% by simply decriminalizing drugs, or as I would like to do, legalizing drugs, and simply by addressing immigration from a different angle. Now, look, this conversation opens up another conversation as to why exactly this is happening. And the answer is something that's a huge issue, but again, in the mainstream, very few people are talking about it. The reason why this is the case is because of private prisons. Because there's been a massive increase in the private prison sector. And what has happened? Well, it used to be the case that if you catch somebody who's just crossing the border, let's say, what they used to do was capture the person and send them right back and drop them off. And that was it. 1, 2, 3, you're done. But now, because we have a more privatized prison system, people will arrest the person who just crossed the border, and then they'll keep them in detention for months or maybe even a year. Why? Because they make more money the more people are behind bars. You've now incentivized the prisons to keep people locked up for longer periods of time because they make more money if they do that. And the idea of a private prison is ridiculous anyway because they're still funded by the state. I mean, to call them private is absurd. This isn't a truly capitalist system. They're getting massive subsidies from the state, but the only difference is that in the private prison system, the state is subsidizing a profit margin for these people, as opposed to a public prison where there is no profit margin. It's just we're spending on it because we have to spend on it. But see, this is why certain things cannot be privatized, because if you privatize a prison system, for example, you've set up a terrible incentive structure. Like, the profit motive is not always bad. In some areas, it actually works better. I mean, we've spoken about this before, but take the example of cars. I mean, the cars in the Soviet Union were hilariously terrible because there was no competition for people to make a better product at a lower price. So sometimes capitalism in a for-profit structure makes perfect sense. But when you're talking about a prison system, you've now made it so that people want to lock up more members of society, so naturally they're going to lobby the government to try to make more things illegal. I mean, that's where 3-strike laws came from. I don't know if you guys know about that, but 3-strike laws, any 3 felonies, you get locked up for life in some states. Why? Because the private prison lobbied the politicians to come up with that law. The politicians pass it under the guise of, we're just being tough on crime. Oh, you're against this? You must be weak on crime. So they have this fake veil of an intellectual argument, and then lo and behold, what happens? You're locking up people with 3 minor felonies that shouldn't be locked up for life. And you have things now like immigration. These are crimes that they're saying, okay, we're going to lock you up for a couple months now. Sometimes these guys have such a long time before they even get in front of a judge because the system is geared for people to make more money. So look, I've spoken about this before, but on the issue of immigration, I'm actually a moderate. Like, there are a lot of people who are way to the left of me on the issue of immigration. I'm a mix of the furthest left beliefs and the furthest right beliefs. So, for example, with people who are already in the country, what would I do with those people? If you're already here and you're already established here, I would give you amnesty. That's it. Like, I'm not going to do some weird, pseudo-fascist state shit where we go around and round everybody up and tell them to grab their shit and then we just ship them out. I think that's fucking crazy. That's an authoritarian state. That's not okay. So if you're here and you're settled here, you're getting amnesty under my system. But what would I do from that day on after we grant amnesty? I would actually do border protection and I wouldn't allow anybody else in illegally. So that's the furthest right idea I have. And honestly, I wouldn't even, if I was president and a bill came to my desk that built a border fence all around the entire country in Canada, Mexico, I would say, fuck it, I'll sign it. You have jobs and, it's just creating a border that's already there anyway. So I don't see a big problem with that either way. Again, a lot of progressives would disagree with me on this, but look, it's just one of those things where it comes down to this old quote. I forgot who said it, but you can either have a border and have a welfare state or have no border and no welfare state. And you guys know I'm a big advocate and proponent of the welfare state. I love social safety net, so you kind of have to have a border and do border protection. So that's how I would address the problem from that angle. But when you have people come across the border, obviously if we're talking about people who have a criminal record or something like that, or they've repeatedly tried to get in and you catch them, it used to be you just drop them back off on the other side. Obviously, you should do that and save the resources instead of locking them up and spending billions of dollars on them for no reason whatsoever. The system is a giant scam, and again, it comes back to the underlying problem of money in politics. If we had a system where you can't have lobbyists, you can't have private money affecting the politicians, then there would have been no incentive to set up the private prison system in the first place and to listen to the lobbyists and then to lock up immigrants. And again, I find it one of the most mind-blowing facts I've read in probably months, that well over 50% of our federal prison system is total bullshit and we could cut it all. Because if half of them are just for immigration issues, you can't lock those people up and waste money on them and detain them unreasonably. And for all the drug crimes, obviously, they shouldn't be locked up either, so we could cut our federal prison system by 75% overnight. All of the fiscal conservatives and the deficit hawks and all those people should be on my side when it comes to issues like this, because I think I am the true fiscal conservative.